Welcome everyone to another Keptn community and developer meeting. Today it's December 10th and we have a couple of items we want to go through. I think the most important part for today for community announcements is actually our next Keptn user group, which will take place next week, December 16th at 5 p.m. Central European time. I just figured out how to export the calendar invite, so please watch out on Twitter and on our Slack. I will post the link there and then you can get it also in your calendar. We will have Sumit from Intuit joining us, and he will talk about their lessons learned and their journey from combining Keptn quality gates with Argo, Jenkins, and I think even Litmus Chaos, and of course Keptn, and they built their own testing infrastructure. So he will share his experiences and his lessons learned. So I'm pretty excited to hear everything from Intuit. And also we will have the Keptn Community Rockstar celebration on December 16th. It will be in the same meeting. We will use the first couple of minutes to award our community rockstars for the last quarter. So please join us in celebrating our rock stars and also learning from Intuit and Sumit how they are using Keptn. This was already the main community announcement. I see a couple of people also in the joining here. If you are, just as a reminder, if you're speaking about Keptn, if you're blogging about Keptn, let us know. We still have a couple of t-shirts left and we are happy also to share this with you. If you have any questions during this meeting, please let us know also in the Q&A section or in the chat, and we're happy to respond. And we can also open up your mic so you can jump in and just have a direct conversation with the team. So with
just a question, is the Keptn user group now a meeting that is going regularly, or is it by invite?
Yes, very good point. So we are planning to do this on a regular basis on the second or third Tuesday of a month. We have not announced a regular cadence for this because for the first edition we cannot do it on our desired date, so we have to do it on a Wednesday because Sumit cannot join otherwise. But starting from January, it will be a regular monthly cadence. And we will be always having someone sharing a story around Keptn, how they are using Keptn, and then a community discussion. So if you are interested in Keptn, if you want to join the Keptn community, talk to other Keptn peers, how they are using Keptn, it's the perfect place to join, since these kind of meetings are very technical. And we heard the community that we also should move to a format which is a little bit less technical and more around the use cases and usage of Keptn. Thanks, Johannes, very good input. Are there any other questions on this topic? Otherwise, I will move on to the next part, where we discuss our noteworthy issues and PRs. And I will just start because last week or this week, I also did minor work on Keptn, and it was basically updating our licenses files in the different Keptn repositories, changing it to the Keptn authors to acknowledge everyone that is actually working on Keptn. And we can take a look. Most of them have already been merged, and there is one PR open, and I can see that Christian is the reviewer. There is one open, and I think it's for the tutorials because we're using Code Labs here. Christian, can you maybe just articulate your thoughts on this?
Yeah, if you could open the pull request and just go to files, because then we can all see what we're talking about. Usually everything should be obviously copyright the Keptn orders. For Code Labs, I think or for the tutorials, we're using Code Labs, and I think we have the whole Code Labs repository in there as a fork or something, or a copy. So the copyright of the Code Labs code itself is obviously by Google. But the content, as you have written down here, is copyrighted by the Keptn orders. that's fine by me, but I'm wondering if we should look for a different approach for the tutorials repository, so that we only have the content in the repository, and then we have the full copyright on the content, and then code labs would only be, I don't know, used via a CI job or something to generate the page eventually. But I'm not sure how others do that. So my comment is more a concern that I have right now, not a blocker. Nevertheless, every time we change the license file, there should be some people involved. In this case, we would have to involve Google about the change. And obviously, this is not correct, because we're not changing the copyright of Code Labs, we're changing the copyright of the content that we created. So we should come up with a solution.
I'm just thinking, would it work if we go to the tutorials and basically all of our content lives in this repository here, to add a separate license file for this for this folder? Then we say, okay, this folder, it's the Keptn authors, the copyright, and everything else is owned by, or everything else is from Google. We are taking the official Google release here. We just changed the colors of the CSS, but I think
that's a great idea, actually. I think that would at least clarify what is the content in this case. And in the main license file, we can maybe even link to the license file for the content itself.
I just did a quick research on this question, whether it's a common practice to have multiple license files in one repo, and I found one Stack Overflow thread about that, and here someone is exactly mentioning your idea, meaning that on the top there should be one license file. I assume this would then be that one as we took it from Code Labs, and there also make a reference to the other license file that is then used in this repo, meaning our one with the copyright of the tutorials.
Cool.
Yeah, then let's do it like this.
Let's do it like this. Johannes, could you maybe comment on the PR here with the link and how we should actually link from one license file to the other, so we have a reference, and then I will take care of doing this, and I will ask Christian for another review.
I will, I will paste the. I will post the link at the issue.
Perfect. Yeah, either at the issue or at the PR itself. Just let me know. Yeah, I think this was the last and only repository that is still left to be merged. If I see correctly, all the other ones
should be
have been merged. And once this is done, we can close the issue. Okay, that was it from my side. Then I'm handing over either to Ermin or Johannes, whoever wants to. Ermin, do you have something? Do you want to share something?
No, I don't have anything to present. I'm working on the new sequences screen in the bridge, which is a new screen, a total new screen in the bridge coming with Keptn 08 and still work in progress, so nothing to show there yet. So I'm handing over to Johannes.
Thanks. I'm just adding the comment to the PR.
Thank you.
But to be honest, I don't have nothing to present today, because I did a minor change in a manifest just to let those people know that are developing the MongoDB service that the secret that is used for there is the default secret, and it's not that one that is used in a Keptn installation. It was just a hint we got from someone from the community that this is misleading and could leak credentials, but this is not the case, as it's the default configuration of the Mongo, and I just added a comment there. Not really worth to get mentioned. Meaning that I would then hand over to the next one in the list.
We have Bernd in the list as the next one, but I'm not sure if he wants to share anything.
I have nothing to demo, but of course I can quickly tell you what we've done in the last 2 days, if you want.
You would have to increase the font size.
I know.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So now I'm not able to scroll here. What's up? Yeah, one thing we did actually together with Flo was the removal of the WebSocket communication from various components. If we take a look, there was this issue here where it was about removing that communication over the WebSocket channel, because now we have CRUD operations, which in response provides all information which was previously handed over via WebSocket. There were some places where we could remove that communication, so we in the end don't have any WebSocket communication in the CLI anymore, and that was the goal of this issue. Basically, you see it here in the tasks, almost everything was done. Removed, yeah, of course, the WebSocket communication from the send event new artifact command. So now if the user wants to get the information, he needs to query this where the get event deployment finished command, where this information is encoded. The same WebSocket communication was removed from the Keptn configure monitor command. It was removed from the API service, the Helm service. We also needed to introduce this monitoring configure finished event, so it's compliant with the 0.8 workflow, and we did a couple of changes in the Go utils. So actually, we just need to close the sub issues here, and then it's done. The second one, which is maybe worth to mention, is this one. So this was about the Prometheus service. The Prometheus service in its current state was just scraping all its metrics via the /Prometheus endpoint. Usually the standard in Prometheus is a /metrics endpoint, so we've changed this so that the Prometheus service now scrapes from this endpoint as /metrics. Nevertheless, this is now configurable via an environment variable. We can take a look here. Which is called metrics scrape path. Its default value is metrics. So if you don't have the environment variable at all, it will be metrics. And if you want, you can just override it here in the service YAML file of the Prometheus service. Yeah, that's, I think, all from my side. Then I think there's nobody next in the list, or is there someone?
No, I think you're at the end of the list. All right. Then we are at the point where I will take over, and we will. Oh, sorry. Let me share another screen. This one. Where we go through the issues that are in the backlog, because yeah, those that are ready for review.
Sorry for interrupting, but I just see that Ankit is also joining. So Ankit, if you have something you want to share with the Keptn community, then please let us know. because I know that he also works on an issue, especially the one where we have the problem with GPG pass on Linux and Ubuntu boxes. So Kit, if you have any progress, feel free to share.
Hi everyone. Yes, I'm working on GPU issue. Right now, I haven't. I am just trying to explore and trying to debug the actual plugin, that is the Docker credential plugin that we are that we are using in our Keptn CLI. So I'm exploring where, and I need to raise the issue at that repo. We'll share the progress as well here once I'll create the issue at that particular repo.
Cool. Thanks for the update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, Ankit was talking about that one. Then I will just move it over from assigned to in progress. Thanks, Ankit. All right. Yeah, we will not go through the issues that are in ready for review because Florian is not joining this call today, and the others we discussed already. Yeah, Florian has a lot of, or did a lot of work the last week, but unfortunately is not here. Nevertheless, let's jump over to what is in the backlog. Let me skip the first ones because those I have already explained throughout the last couple of meetings, and let's jump to the new ones. Or let's get started with this one. What we encountered there is that when you don't do a deployment with Keptn and just use it for quality gates, then in the environment screen there's this leftover of the column because there is no information to show that the artifact and its tag, or the image and its tag, and that's then the reason why this ends up showing up here. And the fix is quite straightforward, because just don't show this column in case it's no information is available that would be surrounded. Yeah. There were a couple of other discussions going on, but the main purpose, or the main issue, is about this one. Someone up for taking this bug fix? It's quite straightforward.
Yeah, it's an easy one. Also, actually, good first issue, but it's also kind of bug. You can assign it to me.
Okay, thanks, Aaron. All right. Then the next one is about reconfiguring the resource limits of our distributors. They have quite a lot of high limits. Here, for example, to get a memory of 32 megabyte, and also the CPU is not that high from a resource allocation point of view, but the limit is quite high with 500 milli-CPUs. And we discussed and we figured out that makes sense to set it to those values, as mentioned here.
I'd like to do it.
Thanks, Christian.
Just a quick question back to everyone here. Is there any change in how much resources the distributor itself needs with the changes for Keptn 0.8? Because I think when we collected the information here on November 9th, we based this on Keptn 0.7. If we don't know, I can check. I'm just wondering if we know.
I'm not aware of any changes in this regard.
All right, then I'll just try and I'll check.
I think we don't know. Try it.
Okay. Then the next one is about removing the hard dependency of macOS builds in Travis CI. All right, yeah. Today we are building the CLI in a macOS image, which is quite expensive on Travis. And with this pull request, we want to break it apart to only build the CLI then with Linux, Windows, and macOS, but just those parts that are really macOS related. And let me just
and we should move it to GitHub Action.
Yep.
I think that's what we agreed on, because on Travis, we don't know how long we will stay on Travis, to be honest, with the credits we have. And GitHub Actions does not enforce any limits on us, as far as I'm aware. So we'll just take what's available right now, I'd say.
I'm just curious, why is it necessary to build actually that binary on macOS?
There is a dependency. I think the last sentence before definition of done says it actually. There's a link to it. There's a dependency that doesn't allow us to cross compile for macOS, and it's maybe Ankit has seen this actually, or maybe Ankit can tell us a way to fix this. But there is the Docker credential helper library that prevents us from cross compiling on Linux for macOS.
Mm-hmm.
And I've raised the issue with the library of authors, and nobody is taking care of that. So this is just a known issue.
We need to have a separate binary with respect to Mac OS and Linux situation.
Yeah, we're building 3 binaries right now, one for Linux, one for Windows, one for macOS. But the problem is, for macOS, we cannot cross compile. So we need a separate macOS VM, which we have on Travis, for building for macOS. Everything else we can cross compile. It's fine, but just this little step is like, yeah.
Should we take a look if we can get rid of that dependency? Because just because of that, it's a little bit stupid to need a macOS environment.
We can. I think we should do this obviously as a separate task, but short term we definitely need to move away from Travis and macOS builds, because it's eating up credits like crazy.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, we should create a separate issue, and
maybe there's another library which is better for this, or maybe we can do it on our own. I don't know how much impact this library has on the code.
Would it make sense to work on getting rid of this dependency as part of issue 2738? Because here Christian is mentioning that we cannot cross-compile CLI for Linux and macOS. I think this would be the right place to investigate whether we should remove the dependency.
Yes,
yeah.
Good idea.
All right, then we still want to do that one to move away from Travis. Is someone up for moving the automation part away from Travis to GitHub Actions?
I can take a look at it. Sorry?
Yeah, I'll explore the issue and check it out if I can resolve it out. You can assign it to me.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Ankit.
Thanks.
Like always, can you leave a comment, and I will then assign it to you.
Sure. I'll do it.
And I think the other issue that you mentioned, Johannes, it's also interesting that we have dependency on Docker within the CLI.
Is it for the credential management?
Yeah, that's the Docker credential manager, or whatever it's called. It's not a dependency on Docker itself. This is like a library of
that we are using to store the credentials.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if this is still something we need, to be honest, because we have the changes that Ankit has made. I'm not sure if we still need to rely on the Docker credential helper here, but whatever we come up with, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Cool. Christian, you filed an issue on Docker credentials helper page or site?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
On March 20, by the way.
Okay. All right. Then, the next one. It's about doing a research in regard to support and trace context in our cloud events. What's the purpose of that? Yeah, with Keptn 0.8, we will change the cloud events, and we also want to get the trace context into our cloud events to support distributed tracing, for example, with OpenTelemetry. And what we already figured out is that the cloud event specification provides an extension exactly for this. And this extension proposes two properties. The first one is a trace parent and the second one is a trace state. And with this issue, we wanted to research how we can use this extension or how it will then be reflected in our cloud events. And we also should figure out whether the cloud events SDK that we rely on also supports this extension. And based on those findings, we want to come up with a prototype in the CLI and API to show how the extended cloud events work. We will still keep the SH Keptn context. This is still what we want to have for now, but we will then figure out whether we can replace it with the trace parent and the trace state. And what we also need to touch is then the event endpoint, to make sure that events are then processed and executed by Keptn. And finally, this research task should also come up with an implementation or with more details in implementing the cloud event extension so that we can do then a follow-up issue and can make progress on that end. All right, yeah. As marked here as research issue, it would be more about finding out how we can support it and how and which parts needs to be changed to make the trace context part of our events. Is someone who already has some experience in distributed tracing, trace context, OpenTelemetry? Or wants to get some knowledge in this particular area? Because then I think this would be a good starting point.
I'd like to take this one.
All right, cool. Thanks, Bernd. All right, then we have two issues left. This one is also dedicated for Travis CI or our migration from away from Travis CI, because next to the testing and sanity checks we now have on GitHub Actions, we also want to move the building part to GitHub Actions. And today Florian gave us the feedback that option A is not possible, where option A says that we should figure out whether we can limit the number of builds on Travis CI, for example, to 4 builds per day. But this is not possible because there's no way to configure how often a cron job should run. And this then concluded that we want to go with option B, that says that we move the entire build process to GitHub. Yeah, that's the task of this issue.
I mean, we could query the Docker API and check if we have built something in the last 6 hours or something, and
stop.
that would be like a workaround.
One question. Did we register Keptn and Travis CI open source policy?
We're trying actually, but we got the response, and we did get some free credits for now. But for a permanent option, there are like some other things in the background that prevents Travis from handing us like the unlimited amount of builds that we had before. One of them is, I can openly say that because they have that in the documentation, that the project that is applying must not be funded by a commercial organization, neither by money, so like somebody pumping money into the project, nor by having developers on the project. Which is kind of weird because almost every open source project that tries to be open source has somebody working on it that works in the context of a company. But that kind of prevents us from staying with Travis, and they haven't told me anything about a permanent credit contract or something so far.
Got it.
This forces us a little bit to move away,
or at least to be a little bit more careful with the credits that we have at the moment.
Yep.
Until it's the same situation with GitHub's action.
Yeah, and then
So,
somebody else will come.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, yeah, but still for short-term solution, that's the only option that we have right now, going with GitHub Actions, unfortunately. Is someone up for working on that issue? If not, then I just will leave it where it is. And when someone finds some time, then feel free to grab it. Then I will jump to the last one. What we have now here is also a kind of research task, more or less, because what we identified, or what a very careful Keptn user identified, is that when you have a lot of Keptn projects with a lot of services onboarded, then the bridge behaves slow. But we are not sure yet whether it's a bridge problem or more on the back end. And in this issue, we want to get more insights into what's the root cause of the low response time, or of the low response time. And what we want to figure out by this issue is, first of all, we will write this issue asks for writing a script that allows to set up an environment with, for example, 20 projects, 15 services, and with more than 100 evaluations. Based on that, we spin up the test environment and we want to set up monitoring, like Dynatrace or Prometheus, to monitor all the response that are then coming in. Especially, we should take care of the /event endpoint when we query root events. This is already, or Christian already identified that this endpoint might be the problem. And after spinning up the environment and setting up monitoring, a test should be provided in a form of a JMeter test that queries all the evaluations from the endpoint. Also, a good hint was that we could activate the MongoDB profiler, which allows us to get more insights into what's going on in the database. And last but not least, and this should be the outcome of this issue, is to identify a bottleneck that is causing the long response time. Yeah, and the problem should then be documented as a pull request so that we can then derive concrete implementation details or implementation tasks, how to improve on the MongoDB side for having fast responses. This means that out of scope of this issue is really changing the code or changing the behavior. It's more or less just focusing on getting an understanding what is the problem right now. All right. Yep.
I can take a look at it, but I'm not sure if I can make it until next week.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. Cool. Thanks. I will assign it to you, but I think also Florian has already a good understanding or already knows what could be problematic. And
I thought so, but I didn't want to throw him under the bus. But if he has told you that he will work on it, then that's fine with me.
He has not told me that, but I assume that he would support you.
Yeah, I'm fine. I can talk to him then. Yeah.
Oh, then all right. This is wrong. Let me remove. Cool. Yep. Then I'm at the end of the backlog for this week. Yep. A couple of issues are assigned and are waiting. But yep, that's cool. All right. Yeah, then I'm also at the end of my part. Let me jump back to our agenda. We ran through the backlog planning that we did. Is there something else that we should mention? Not from my side. Jürgen, you have something on your
I just
bullet list?
want to highlight again. Oh, sorry, was I?
No, have you something to add?
I just want to mention once again that we are having our Keptn user group on December 16th. That's next week on Wednesday. And Sumit Nagal from Intuit is joining us. And we will be talking about their lessons learned with Keptn, Argo, Jenkins, Litmus. So they use a lot of tools and they will show us how they are orchestrating everything with Keptn. So it's next week on December, 5 p.m. Central European time, so same time as today, but just on a Wednesday. So please join us. The link for the Zoom session is already in our meeting document, and the calendar invite will follow. I just have to upload the icon somewhere and make it. Make sure to make it available. If you're subscribing to the Keptn community calendar, then you already have this event in the Keptn community calendar. I just also want to provide a way that you can, if you have not subscribed, to also get it in your calendar. But yeah, that was it from my side. Are there any more comments from the community? If not, then I want to thank all of you for joining today, and see you all next Wednesday in the Keptn user group, and then next Thursday in the developer meeting. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.